You're listening to Muldrow Bulldogs basketball, presented by Divine Lines Body Art Studio and Academy in Fort Smith, and brought to you by todayinfortsmith.com. Now we're back with you. We're going to try this again. We're doing the starting lineups. Dennis has the pen tonight. It's actually working, so he is going to mark my starters for me. I don't know who these people are for Vian, but, I'm not here for them, so that's okay. Number 15 for the purple, making her way out. Joined by number 4 and number 11. These girls look like, I don't know, maybe 7th graders. It's hard to judge. It's going to be awfully difficult for them to match up with Taylon Collins at 6'1", and if 6'2", Maddie Reeves gets into the game, it's going to be rough. Now here come your Muldrow Lady Bulldogs. We're about to see them. There she is, number 14, Taylon Collins, coming out first for the Lady Bulldogs. Here he is, number 15, Cameron Johnson, the only senior starter on the team. Here's number 21, Hannah Boyette. Making her way out next, number 23, Madison Chambers. And last but not least, number 33, Shaylin Mays. And Jana Armour, the head coach. And we are about to get underway. We want to thank everybody who's still listening live, everybody who has hung with us. The first day we were down here, we had terrible connection problems. We had 3 different hotspots going, and we could not find anything to work. But now I believe we're connected and we're ready to roll. If we do drop off for a couple seconds, stay with us, and I'm pretty sure you'll pick us right back up. Taylon Collins getting set to jump against number 25, Dia Jackson. And here comes the referee. The ball's up, and Dia Jackson didn't even move. Taylon Collins sends the ball back to Hannah Boyette. She sends it off to the right to Cameron Johnson. Back to Hannah in the corner. Back to Cameron Johnson. Back to Hannah in the corner for 3. And that's the first 3 points of the ball game. Hannah has already asserted herself in this early matchup here. 3-0. The Muldrow Lady Bulldogs lead. There's a turnover. Cameron Johnson comes up with it. Madison Chambers dishes it off to Taylon Collins, and she throws one up off the backboard. That's no good. But Taylon Collins does draw the foul, so she will go to the free throw line for the first time tonight.
I'm going to say Hannah starting off tonight like she did last night, just hot from the three-point line.
Just burning hot. Here's Taylon Collins, and her first shot is no good from the free throw line. High fives. Second shot up by Taylon Collins. That is good. The Muldrow Lady Bulldogs lead 4-0 with 7.5 left in this first quarter. And the Lady Wolverines are bringing the ball up the floor for the first time tonight. Heavy pressure. Madison Chambers over here on the left side. Ball over into the right side. Now back to the top of the key and a drive to the right. There's a floater going up. No good. Rebounded by Hannah Boyette. She's going to move the ball down the floor. She'll slow things down just a little bit. Pass to the right to Cameron Johnson. And Cameron's going to skip pass back to Hannah Boyette, and she's going to dish it off to Madison Chambers, who drives and sends it down to Shaylin Mays for a shot up. No good. Rebounded by Vian. And the Lady Wolverines headed back down to their side of the floor. Lady Wolverines holding on to the ball. They act like the game's almost over and they've got the lead.
Maybe they're going to stall for the whole first quarter.
Somebody tell them it doesn't work like this. Here's the ball back up to the top of the key. nowhere to go. Not a lot to commentate on. There's another pass. There's another pass. Hey, if they pass any more, we're going to nickname them the Vian Kidney Stones. Here's another pass off to the left. And somewhat of a drive down to the lane and a dish off to the corner, and a shot for three is good. And the Lady Wolverines are on the board. Lady Bulldogs still lead 4-3. Madison Chambers now with the ball, dishes it off to Hannah Boyette in the corner. She's going to give it to Taylon Collins, who dishes it off down to Shaylin Mays at the low post, and she puts one up and in. Good for 2 points. 6-3 now. The Lady Bulldogs with the lead. Vian trying to bring the ball up the floor and get it past half court at least. And they get it past the mark. Pass over to the right side, into the corner, and a drive. Ball kicked back out at the top of the key now. They are burning time off the clock. I guarantee you this has something to do with not wanting to get 60 points put on them tonight, which may be a good strategy. Ball over to the left side. But, you know, Dennis, the longer you hold on to the ball, the less points you're going to score.
Well, and I was going to say, you know, if you stop and think about it, how do you prepare going into a situation like this? How do you prepare for a team that you know is fixing to probably beat the socks off of you?
They're going to lay it on you.
You know?
There was a three-point shot, no good by Vian. Ball brought up the court by Madison Chambers, and she's got the ball over in the corner, and she dishes it off to Taylon Collins. Taylon goes up for a shot and gets fouled, but they don't bother blowing the whistle. That gets rebounded by Vian. They're going to bring the ball back up to their side of the floor. Into the front court now are the Lady Wolverines. Pass over to the left. Back to the top of the key. We've burned off half a quarter, and we've only got 9 points on the board total. Referee's starting to count. Ball off to the left and back to the top of the key, over to the right. Everybody is holding the rock. Here's somewhat of a drive and a kick back out. Here's a shot in the middle of the lane, no good. Rebounded by Hannah Boyette. Ooh, little round the back. And Hannah's going to bring it up to the top of the key here and pass it off to Cameron Johnson, who takes a three. Booyah! There's another 3 points for the Lady Bulldogs, and they lead 9-3 now. 3:19 left in the first quarter. Cameron Johnson hot for three. Hannah Boyette hot for three. Lady Wolverines holding on to the ball. That seems to be the theme tonight. Dish off to the left side, back to the top of the key, over to the right. And back to the top of the key again. Back off to the left, back to the top of the key. They're going to dance around for a little bit. Here's a little bit of a drive and a dish off to the corner. Back off to the left wing, pass back over to the right.
I think the girls are confused. I think the Vian coaching staff told them to slow it down. I think they heard stop.
Yeah, now there's a turnover, a pass inside. Cameron Johnson dishes it off to Hannah Boyette, and she steps out of bounds with the ball. So that will be a turnover on the behalf of the Bulldogs. And now the Lady Wolverines will have the ball out of bounds, and they're going to throw it in. Bring the ball up the floor and probably hold it. And Hannah Boyette is going to get whistled for her first foul of the ball game. 2 minutes, 8 seconds left in this first quarter. Lady Bulldogs up 9-3. Inbound pass now. And a dribble over to the right, up to the top of the key, pass off to the left for the Lady Wolverines. Taylon Collins knocks the ball loose momentarily. Vian recovers. And a dish off to the right side. Here's a shot up, thrown out of bounds by Hannah Boyette. Hannah wasn't having any of that shot stuff.
Not in my house.
Nope. Not today. Here's the inbound pass by Vian. Top of the key over to the left. Back to the top of the key. Back over to the right side. And a dribble up to the top of the key. Pass to the right. Shot for three is no good. Rebounded by Madison Chambers. Madison's going to bring the ball up the floor and probably waste no time. There is a loose ball over to Hannah Boyette, and it's going to get knocked out of bounds by Vian. The possession will stay with Muldrow. So we're going to see the inbound pass here. And we've got a substitution for Vian. Here's the inbound pass to Hannah Boyette. Dribbling to the top of the key, looking for a place to go. Pass off to the right to Cameron Johnson. She gives it back to Taylon Collins, over to Hannah Boyette. And an alley-oop to Taylon Collins. And she dishes it out to Shaylin Mays, off to Madison Chambers. Hannah Boyette for three. Booyah! Money every time. Hannah Boyette with another 3 points. 40 seconds left in the first quarter. The Lady Bulldogs lead 12-3. And Dennis got a case of the shivers, I think, next to me, because Hannah Boyette has ice running through her veins. Now here's the ball at the top of the key, and a pass over to the left. And a dribble over to the top of the key, and a pass over to the right. Everybody holding the ball. 8 seconds left now. Vian trying to get the last shot off. And there is a shot for two, and that's no good. With 1 second left, Shaylin Mays is going to hang on to it. That's the end of the first quarter. The Lady Bulldogs lead 12-3. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Muldrow Bulldogs basketball, presented by Divine Lines Body Art Studio and Academy in Fort Smith, and brought to you by todayinfortsmith.com.
And we're going to bring you back in live. Clint Davis and Dennis McCaslin. Here's the inbound pass by Vian. I keep wanting to just call him Purple. And here's a loose ball. Hannah Boyette loses it, and she regains it and pass over to Paige Hughes, who has snuck into the game. And Madison Chambers now with a pass off to Hannah Boyette. Off to Alicia McCloria. Back to Hannah Boyette. Back to McCloria. Down to Taylon Collins. And she sends it off to Paige Hughes in the corner. Back to Madison Chambers. Back down to Taylon Collins. And Taylon loses the ball and picks it back up. Madison Chambers off to Hannah Boyette now. And she passes it off to Alicia McCloria for three, and that's no good. Paige Hughes with the rebound. She has to get rid of it. McCloria's got the ball now off to Taylon Collins at the high post, and she's going to spin and lose the ball, and there will be a tie-up. And the ball will stay with Muldrow after that jump ball scenario. And here is the inbound pass. Hannah Boyette out to Madison Chambers, and she's going to fake and kick it out to Alicia McCloria. Paige Hughes off to Hannah Boyette in the corner. Paige Hughes back to Madison Chambers for three, and that shot's no good. Rebounded by Vian. And they're going to call a foul on Hannah Boyette. Hannah tried to tie the ball up. They will whistle her for the foul, and that is her second of the ball game. Hannah's going to come out and have a seat. Inbound pass from Vian now. They're going to bring the ball up the floor, and they're going to whistle Alicia McCloria with a blocking foul right here in front of half court.
Vian's offensive strategy so far, Clint, has been to let the paint dry on the steps before they paint the porch.
First. Yeah, they can't go anywhere till the paint dries. They've only got 3 points. We're almost halfway into the second quarter. Vian trying to do something with the ball. The ball's on the right wing now. They're going to pass it off to the right side, almost down into the corner. Pass off down low and a loose ball as far as I could see with the referee in front of me. Madison Chambers on a fast break. She's going to pull it out. Dishes it off to McCloria, who goes up for a shot. McCloria gets hammered. No whistle. Cameron Johnson comes up with the ball and goes up for the shot. Alicia McCloria, that's her second foul of the ball game. We're going to have a timeout, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Muldrow Bulldogs basketball, presented by Divine Lines Body Art Studio and Academy in Fort Smith, and brought to you by todayinfortsmith.com.
And we're going to try to bring you back in live. We had almost a good connection for the boys' game. Now we're getting nothing but trash. Here is Vian bringing the ball up the floor, and another timeout on the floor. We're just going to keep it here. Vian decided they would call a timeout. Last timeout here was called by Vian. So they will have the ball out of bounds, and here comes the inbound pass. Shot up by Vian, no good. They've got their own rebound. Pass out to the left wing and back to the top of the key, over to the left wing, over skip pass to the right wing and down in the corner. Back to the right side, back to the top of the key. Back over to the right side. Top of the key now, back over to the right. This is all Vian is doing. This is why they've only got 3 points in this whole ball game, because all they do is hold the ball. Pass the ball, hold the ball. That's their only strategy. Paige Hughes knocks the ball out of bounds, and we're going to see Shaylin Mays and Hannah Boyette check back into the ball game. Between a ridiculous connection and watching Vian hold the ball the whole game, it's getting a little frustrating in here. Coach Jana Armour giving the referee a piece of her mind, and I don't think he likes it. I wouldn't either. Here's the inbound pass. Over to the right side, down into the corner. They're going to call Hannah Boyette for her 3rd foul of the ball game, and she is probably going to sit out the rest of the half. Here comes Madison Chambers. Hannah Boyette will check out. Madison checking back in. And my boy Chad Mays, he's up in the crowd. Where did I see him? He's listening live. I don't know if I did see him today. He's somewhere out there. We'll find him. Vian with the inbound pass, trying to figure out what they want to do besides hold it the whole game. Pass off to the right side. Back to the top of the key. Back to the right side and a semi-drive, and that's not going to work. Taylor Collins with a rebound. She's on a fast break. One person to beat. She's going to spin move and put one up, and that's no good, but she does draw the foul. So Taylor Collins, if they didn't whistle that on the floor, they did not. She is going to go to the line for 2 shots. And we will see the attempt to put the Lady Bulldogs up by 11. We can sink both these free throws. Taylor Collins' first shot is up and no good, in and out. Second free throw now. The first shot was no good in case we cut out. Second shot, Taylor Collins up is good. The Lady Bulldogs lead by 10 now, 13-3 with 4.5 left in the second quarter. Vian now bringing the ball back up to their side of the floor. They scored once at the very beginning of the game and haven't done anything but run around like chickens with their heads cut off. Cameron Johnson gets down on the floor and ties it up. How's that 3 jump balls in a row have gone back to Vian?
I don't know, but as this trip down the floor, Muldrow reacted a little bit different, and they got out and played on defense and kind of forced the action. I think maybe Coach Armour's getting a little frustrated.
Oh, I know she's
with his whole technique that's going on.
Look at that look on her face. She does not like this at all. Shot up for 3, no good. Rebounded by Madison Chambers. She's going to give it off to Cameron Johnson over to Taylor Collins, and Taylor's going to bring the ball up the floor. Paige Hughes over to Cameron Johnson for 3, and that's off the mark. Rebounded by Madison Chambers, and she just threw it away. I think she thought she had somebody down low, and she did not. And now Vian bringing the ball back down to their side of the floor very, very slowly.
We played 14 and a half minutes here and 1 basket from Vian.
Unbelievable.
And probably not more than 4 or 5 shots total.
Yeah. So Vian, in case we cut out again, Vian is still just holding the ball. You guys have not missed a thing. Ball is almost at half court, where they're just throwing it around and hanging on to it. Pass picked off by Paige Hughes, knocked down by Taylon Collins, and Taylon's got the ball. Shaylin Mays at the high post, and she's going to dribble and give it off to Madison Chambers. Over to Cameron Johnson, back over to Madison Chambers. And Madison shoots for two and hits one. And Vian is going to call a timeout. 15-3, the Lady Bulldogs lead. 2:35 left in the second quarter. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Muldrow Bulldogs basketball, presented by Divine Lines Body Art Studio and Academy in Fort Smith, and brought to you by todayinfortsmith.com.
Dan, if you are still with us, we apologize. We had to shut the whole damn thing down and restart it. Pass picked off by Taylon Collins. She's back up the floor and puts up a shot, no good. Knocked out of bounds by Alicia McCloria. Vian ball. They will try to bring it back up to their side of the floor. Inbound pass now to Vian. They're going to bring the ball back up the floor. 1 minute, 23 seconds left in the second quarter. Pass picked off by Taylon Collins, and she's on a fast break. And we've got a block on the floor. Taylon Collins draws the foul. And we are not quite at a 1-and-1 situation, so there will be a ball out of bounds. Alicia McCloria with the inbound pass to Madison Chambers, off to Shaylin Mays, and she's going to dribble around, give it to McCloria. Madison Chambers at the three-point line on the right side. Cameron Johnson puts up a three-point shot, no good. Vian with the rebound. Shaylin Mays went to the floor, she's back up. And now Vian with the ball on the left side in their front court. Now the ball over on our side on the right. 34 seconds left in this half. This is the worst half of basketball I've ever seen in my entire life. Shaylin Mays blocks a shot. Vian comes up with it, throws up garbage. Alicia McCloria with the rebound. She's pushing the ball up the floor. She's going to slow it down a little bit. 7 seconds left. Madison Chambers with the ball. Over to McCloria. She's going to throw one up for three, and that's good. So at the end of the second quarter, that is the most worthless half of basketball I've ever seen in my life. The Muldrow Lady Bulldogs lead 18-3. After 2 quarters of play.
Projects out to 36-6 for a final score.
I mean, this is ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it. But we are going to try to take a break. We're going to listen to our sponsors for a minute, and then we will be right back.
You're listening to Muldrow Bulldogs basketball, presented by Divine Lines Body Art Studio and Academy in Fort Smith, and brought to you by todayinfortsmith.com.
I know. I hope Vegas does not have odds on this ball game. Because if they're betting on Vian to score more than, 10 points, it may not happen. We're back with you live. I mean, I know we've been live. I'm just kind of mess talking here about the score. 18-3 at halftime. This, I don't even need to say it again. It's just not good basketball. And I know Coach Armour is going to have a heart-to-heart with her ladies. I don't know how Vian is going to come out and play in this second half. If it's anything like the first half, I'm over here kicking myself because I'm running on about 2 hours of sleep in the last 3 days for this. I mean, this is what we saved it all up for.
This is what we got excited about to come down here.
Hey, I was tickled pink. I thought this was going to be great championship basketball, but boy, was I wrong. Dennis, 18-3, what kind of stats do you have?
Well, Hannah Boyette finished with 2 3-pointers. She's got 6 points to lead the way.
And 3 fouls.
We had 3 points from Chambers, 3 points from Johnson, and those are all 3-pointers. 2 points each from Shaylin Mays and Collins, and that's your scoring. And of the 5 3-pointers from the Lady Bulldogs, and that's it. And as I was telling you, right before we came back from break, at the end of the first quarter, Vian had 3. At the end of the second quarter, they still had 3. And that's on a 3-point bucket by Jackson. And that was early on in the game. I'm thinking like within the first 2 minutes of the game, Jackson hit that three-pointer, made it 4-3, if you remember correctly. Since then, they've been outscored 14-0. And what you and I talked about, and part of the problem is they're just not even trying to advance the ball down the court. Now, I do think that Coach Armour got a little frustrated there at the end and started. Muldrow was just hanging back and letting them do it there for a while, and I think Coach Armour got frustrated and started bringing defenders out to kind of press the action a little bit. But I'm betting before it's all said and done, I'll bet the Lady Bulldogs put 40 on the
Well, that's what I just said a minute ago. I mean, Vian's trying to do everything they can not to let Muldrow score 60 points on them, because that's usually what Muldrow does. And then that's when I said I don't be surprised when Muldrow comes out after the half and hangs 40 up on Vian, because they're not going to keep playing basketball like this. These Lady Bulldogs, they come to win. This should not be this close of a ball game. There should not be I know it's a 15-point gap here in scores, but it's awful.
Well, it's hard to do a whole lot of scoring when the other team, every time they bring the ball up the floor, they're taking a minute and 30, a minute and 40 off the clock, just passing the ball around out top. And I can understand maybe that's a strategy. Maybe the strategy is, instead of winning, maybe the strategy is let's just don't get beat real bad.
Killed is the strategy. And I do want to point something out, just, I don't know, for comedic purposes. But I never thought I would sit in a basketball game at halftime and say one person has as many fouls as the other team has points.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I don't think I've ever seen that either. Usually think, well, how could somebody have 57 fouls in a game? Well, there's not 57 points in a game.
I did see a game like this, Clint, one time back. I think it was a Lavaca Pinnacle tournament over in Arkansas. And if I'm not mistaken, it might have been Hartford playing Scranton.
Boy, that sounds like riveting basketball.
Well, and let me tell you what the deal was. They both teams came out with this buy-in strategy. Both teams were playing not to let the other team get the ball and lose. And I kid you not, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember, this would have been back in like 96 or 97. If I'm not mistaken, I think the final score of that one was 11-10.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I would have walked out on that. I can't handle that. 11-10 is your final. That's not what we're going to have in Shakota. We can't handle that. We're going to take it. We've got about 4.5 minutes left. We're going to take it back to maybe a couple of ads, maybe a little bit of music, just try to break up the monotony a little bit. I think our connection is somewhat stable right now for the moment, but rest assured, as soon as we get back into action, it'll start cutting out again. My name's Clint Davis. Dennis McCaslin is next to me. And then we got this nice gentleman from the Muskogee Phoenix over to our left. Paul, right? That's him. That's Paul. And we'll be right back.
You're listening to Muldrow Bulldogs basketball, presented by Divine Lines Body Art Studio and Academy in Fort Smith, and brought to you by todayinfortsmith.com.
And we're going to join you back live here, Clint Davis and Dennis McCaslin. And we have action starting in about 42 seconds. If you heard that music, that was a song called Unsung Ghost by a band called Solidify from the Fort Smith area. They are actually going to be performing at Rocklahoma this year. They managed to get invited on one of the stages there, so all the guys, Steve and Craig, they used to live across the street. Well, they actually still, it's kind of a messed up situation. Anyway, we used to call them garage band because they used to just sit in the garage and practice all the time. Now these are the songs that they're going to be playing at Rocklahoma.
Might take odds here whether or not Vian scores again before Rocklahoma starts.
I'm not betting on this game to save my life. I'll stick with tennis. And the inbound pass, Lady Bulldogs. Madison Chambers pitches one up to Taylor Collins, and she cannot come up with it. Vian's got the loose ball, and they're going to try to bring the ball up to the floor. They are shooting on our left now. Here comes full defensive pressure from the Muldrow Lady Bulldogs. And Vian still holding the ball. Ball over into the corner. Back to the top of the key, and a little bit of a drive. Ball back to the top of the key. They're just going to hang on to it for a minute. This is what Vian does. Ball over into the right corner. And we've got a travel on Vian.
Well, let's give the Lady Wolverines a little bit of credit. At least they're working the ball, trying to get it down to in a scoring position.
So instead of holding on to the ball for another minute and a half, they just go ahead and turn it over, which is good for us. Now inbound pass from Madison Chambers to Hannah Boyette. She's bringing the ball up into the front court, top of the key, over to the left, back to Madison Chambers. Top of the key to Cameron Johnson. Over into the corner, Hannah B for three, and that's no good. Nobody down low to rebound except Vian. The score remains 18-3 with 6:50 left in the third quarter. It actually just started. There's a picked off pass by Cameron Johnson, and Cameron throws it all the way down to a Vian player, and we're going to see a foul on Madison Chambers. So Vian will retain possession.
Clint, we've got some dedicated fans that are hanging in there.
Yeah, I know. We had a ton more until we had to cut out and cut back in.
I'm just saying dedicated fans to sit through this 18-3.
Well, Amy's still in there. Amy's letting us know she's still hanging with us, so we appreciate Amy. Coach Matthews is still there. John Luna's there. My mom is still listening. We've got other people that we can't see where they're from or what their names are. They're listening, though. Ball over into the corner, back up to the left wing, back up to the top of the key for Vian. This is what they do. They pass around and they hold on to it. If you weren't able to make it to this game, that's okay. Back over to the left wing. And somewhat of a drive, kick back out to the top of the key. Yes. A little bit of a drive here, and a turnaround jumper, no good. Taylor Collins with the rebound. She's pushing hard up the floor to Madison Chambers, and she puts one up off the glass, and that's good for two. And the score is now 20-3. It should have been 20-3 about 2 quarters ago, but we'll take it right now. Vian bringing the ball up the floor. Ball out on the left side. Vian I know we've said it 5 times already. Vian is just trying not to get killed in this game. Back to the top of the key for Vian, and they're going to hold on to it just a little bit longer. A dribble in and a dribble back out. Pass over to the right side. Over into the corner and back to the right wing, back to the top of the key. And a timeout by Vian. Boy, that couldn't have come at a better time. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Muldrow Bulldogs basketball, presented by Divine Lines Body Art Studio and Academy in Fort Smith, and brought to you by todayinfortsmith.com.
Hey, we're back with you live. Clint Davis and Dennis McCaslin, todayinfortsmith.com. Joined by Paul from the Muskogee Phoenix. He does not have a headset, but we're trying to include him as much as we can. And I believe, oh, great, Vian's going to start out with the ball. Here's the inbound pass. Can't wait to see what they do here. A little bit of a dribble. And Hannah Boyette comes up with a loose ball and baseball passes to Cameron Johnson, and she goes up off the glass. That's good for 2, and the Lady Bulldogs lead 22-3 with 4:20 now left in the third quarter. Pass over to the left side. And Madison Chambers with the loose ball, and she puts one up off the glass, good for 2. And she draws the foul. So Madison Chambers will go to the line with a chance for a 3-point play. The score is 24-3. Lady Bulldogs lead by 21 points. It's getting exciting in here. Madison Chambers, free throw up is good. 25-3. Lady Bulldogs lead. 4:08 left, and now we're going to have a terrible inbound pass knocked out of bounds by Vian, and that will be Muldrow ball. Hannah Boyette out of bounds. with the inbound pass. Alley-oop to Taylon Collins, and she tries to put it up, and that's no good. Cameron Johnson with a shot for three, also no good. Vian with the rebound, bringing the ball up the floor. And if they would look up when they dribble, they would have had an open lady down underneath the basket. And now we're going to get a foul on Madison Chambers. I believe that's going to be her third. Second foul of the ball game. 3:55 left, still 25-3. Muldrow Lady Bulldogs got this one in hand. I think we can go ahead and say that. Vian with the inbound pass. Pass over to the right. There's a shot for three, and that's good. Second basket of the game for Vian. Comes at 3:40 left in the third quarter. It's 25-6.
Clint, I was just getting ready to say, she hit that shot. They went 17 minutes and 59 seconds on the clock without scoring.
It's got to be a record. Pass over to the right to Cameron Johnson. Drives, gives it off to Taylon Collins. Top of the key to Hannah Boyette for three, and she drains it. Another three-point shot now, 28-6, 22-point lead for the Lady Bulldogs. 3:10 left in the third quarter. Vian bringing the ball up the floor. Pass over to the left side. Madison Chambers, heavy defense. She's got to look out or she's going to commit another foul. Ball knocked loose by Taylon Collins out of bounds, and that's going to be Vian ball. We're going to see Alicia McCloria come into the game for Shaylin Mays. And Buck Dunn says the connection is much better. It sounds terrible on my end. It sounds glitchy, but that's okay. We'll deal with it. We appreciate the feedback. It's always good if you guys give us good feedback on how the sound is. We like that. Usually it's a bunch of people telling us how bad it is and the connection's bad. And while we do appreciate that, we like to hear the good stuff. Here's Vian with a drive on the inside, and a shot up off the glass is good. Cameron Johnson is not happy. Hannah Boyette bringing the ball up the floor. Still a 20-point lead for the Lady Bulldogs, 28-8. 2:28 left here in the third quarter. Taylon Collins with the ball in the corner on the right side, down to Cameron Johnson, off to Madison Chambers. 15-foot jumper's no good. Rebound by Hannah Boyette. Keeps it alive for the Lady Bulldogs. Cameron Johnson over to Hannah Boyette. She fakes at the three-point line. Tries to go up for a shot and gets fouled like crazy. They finally call a foul on number 21. Lorena Hernandez. And here's the inbound pass over to Taylon Collins. Madison Chambers with a fake and a drive, and then kicks it out. Back down into Taylon Collins. Taylon goes up for a shot, draws the foul. Shot's no good, so she's going to go to the line for two.
That's how frustrating this game is, Clint. Taylon Collins has 2 points.
That's unbelievable. And that's part of the reason why. There's another free throw missed by Taylon Collins. Here's the second free throw up. That's also no good by Taylon Collins. It may be a good thing that Vian's not scoring any points in this game because Muldrow is in a little bit of a slump. Loose ball knocked away by Taylon Collins, and she's going to take it all the way in, off the glass for 2 points. 30-8 now. The Lady Bulldogs with the lead. 1:38 left in the third quarter. Is this just good defense or what? There's another pass knocked away by Taylon Collins. Vian comes up with the loose ball. Taylon is slow to get up. A walk on Vian. Boy, the Vian parents are not happy. Y'all listen to that. Y'all hear that? Boos all around. I mean, that's what happens when you're down 30-8 and the game's almost over. Hannah Boyette bringing the ball up the floor now. We represent Muldrow, by the way, in case you people listening don't know that. Pass down low to Cameron Johnson. She can't hang on to it, and she sends it off to Vian. A little slap shot off the side pocket, and that's out of bounds. Last touch by the Lady Wolverines. And now Hannah Boyette, inbound pass to Madison Chambers. Madison off to the right to Alicia McCloria. Back to Madison. She fakes and drives. Hannah Boyette dishes it off down low, and Madison Chambers throws it away. Too much trickery here by the Lady Bulldogs trying these no-look passes, and that's not a good thing. Stolen by Alicia McCloria, and she's going to give it off to Madison Chambers. And no-look pass. McCloria was not ready for that, and Madison Chambers threw the ball away. 35 seconds left now in the third quarter. Vian with the possession. 30-8 is the score. 30-8. Beautiful. Vian trying to figure out what to do. 20 seconds, 18 seconds now left on the clock. A little bit of a drive around to the top of the key. 3 seconds left now, and ball taken away by Cameron Johnson. She throws up a prayer. That's no good. At the end of the third quarter, the Muldrow Lady Bulldogs lead. This is a championship game. This is the finals. I don't know if anybody else has ever seen a game like this or heard one, but by golly, we got one going right here in Chakota, Oklahoma. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Muldrow Bulldogs basketball, presented by Divine Lines Body Art Studio and Academy in Fort Smith, and brought to you by todayinfortsmith.com.
Inbound pass here. We're going to bring it back in live. Vian throwing it in if they can find somebody, and there is the pass over to the right side. They're going to try to get it past half court. Bless her heart, she doesn't know what she's doing with the ball. It's number 11, Hope Salcido. And they give it up to Hannah Boyette. Paige Hughes has the loose ball now. Back to Hannah Boyette. Hannah's going to bring the ball up the flow, and we're going to see if we can find something to do here. I mean, pretty much all the Lady Bulldogs have to do at this point is play the Vian game. Just hold on to the ball. And Taylon Collins does not do that. As she loses it out of bounds, that will be Vian possession.
So at this point, what's the over-under on the point scored by the Lady Bulldogs?
12. Oh, the Bulldogs?
Yeah.
Oh, I would say 42.
42,
43
43.
over-under. I'm going to go with the under. There is a loose ball and a jump ball, and that will go back toward the Lady Bulldogs. I'm going to go with the over-under of 12 for Vian for an entire game. Will this be some kind of record in a championship finals of a
I'd have to do some
tournament?
research, but
I mean, who do we need to get on the phone for this?
I'll bet you Buck Ringgold will know.
He might. Hannah Boyette with the ball over to Alicia McCloria. Back to Hannah. Over to Paige Hughes. Back to Hannah at the top of the key. And back to Paige Hughes on the right side. Back to Hannah Boyette. Back over to Paige Hughes. By way of Cameron Johnson. Hannah Boyette, NBA 3, and that's no good. She did not have to take that, but it didn't hurt anything. Vian with the ball, bringing it up to their side of the floor. Pass over into the corner for 3, and that's no good. Hannah Boyette bringing the ball up the floor. 2 people to beat. She's got Gloria to her left, and she takes it all the way to the hoop and gets fouled, and nobody calls it. Paige Hughes with the rebound. Now they call a foul.
I think that we've reached the point that the officials just don't even care.
Kaylee Teehee commits that foul. Yeah, no, it's obvious to me they want to get out of here as bad as I do. I need some Charlie's chicken and a nap. So Teehee with the foul. Number 11, Hope Salcido, was checking out of the ball game. Hannah Boyette over on the right side with the ball. Alicia McCloria over to Cameron Johnson. Skip pass to McCloria. Over to Paige Hughes, down to Hannah Boyette. And she throws it off a Vian player. That's number 25, Dia Jackson. And now Hannah Boyette with the inbound pass. Way out to Alicia McCloria. Over to Cameron Johnson for 3. No good. Taylor Collins does not want to commit the foul. But we do see the ball knocked out of bounds by Taylor Collins. And that will be Vian possession. Vian bringing the ball up to half court now. We're past half court. Going very slow, almost to the three-point line, folks. This is exhilarating basketball. Now here's the dribble over to the right. And a pass down low. She goes up for a shot. That's no good. Knocked out of bounds by the Lady Bulldogs. So the Lady Wolverines will keep it. We're still at a score of 30-8 with 5:45 left in the fourth quarter. Dennis, I don't know how many of the parents are going to want me to put this game on CD for them. I've been thinking about that for the last few minutes.
Think this may be one they pass on?
Probably. But I bet they don't pass as many times as Vian does. There's a ball out of bounds by the Lady Wolverines, thrown away.
Hey-o.
A little zinger. And now Hannah Boyette bringing the ball up the floor.
If I had a drum thing, I'd give you a
little rim shot.
Little rim shot on
I
that.
live for those. Hannah Boyette over to the right side to Taylor Collins. Terrible jokes, by the way. Paige Hughes with the ball now. Over to Alicia McCloria. Back over to Hannah Boyette. And Paige Hughes wanted that three-point shot, but she said no. Hannah Boyette now with the ball. Has to give it up. There's McCloria. Paige Hughes, top of the key. Hannah Boyette for three. Nails it. There's another 3 points up. 33-8 with 4:55 left in the fourth quarter.
Hannah with 12 points, all 12 of them coming from three-point range.
Hannah has single-handedly outscored
By
Vian collectively. Oh, great. There's another timeout by Vian. I don't know how you strategize passing the ball around for 25 minutes, but we're going to take a break with them, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Muldrow Bulldogs basketball, presented by Divine Lines Body Art Studio and Academy in Fort Smith, and brought to you by todayinfortsmith.com.
Hey, we're going to bring you back in live. Clint Davis and Dennis McCaslin. We're trying to stay awake for the rest of this. And I keep having to tell you guys listening live, just like I have to keep telling myself, this is a championship game in a tournament.
This is not the third place game.
It does not sound real to me, but it's 33-8. The Muldrow Lady Bulldogs lead this ball game with 4:42 left in it. Vian Lady Wolverines with the ball.
A lot of that, Clint, the quality of the game has been because Vian stalling as much as they have. I mean, It's hard to get in a flow when you can't even get the basketball.
Yeah, when the other team takes the ball down the floor and holds on to it. Loose ball picked up by Madison Chambers, and she's going to race down, take it all the way to the hoop. That's no good, and a putback by Taylor Collins is also no good.
Isn't this usually about the time of the game when we have some celebrity visitors come in, you know?
I don't even know if I feel up to doing it.
I don't even know if you can do that.
Boy, this is the slowest ball game I've ever seen in my life, Bobby. It's about time we get home and fire up the propane grill and cook a big steak.
The one
Taylor Collins trying to get some points on the board from the free throw line. First shot no good. Second shot is good. 34-8 now.
One thing we do have to look forward to after this 4 minutes, 15 seconds is the hospitality room is still open.
The hospitality room. I heard there's lots of brisket in that place. Vian throws the ball away again.
How many turnovers do Vian have?
Oh.
Yes.
About as many as they have points. Madison Chambers down low to Shaylin Mays, and she loses the ball. This is just a bad game for everybody, I think. This is not a game we can all be proud of. But we'll take the win, no matter how it comes. Vian with the ball on the left corner, and shot up for three is good. Hope Salcido with another.
Bless her heart.
With another 3-point. Yeah, Amy says she's trying to stay awake, too. We do apologize. If this is what everybody needed to get a good nap in for a Saturday night, then you're welcome. Pass over to the right side. Paige Hughes barely hangs on to it. Back over to Hannah Boyette to Madison Chambers. Paige to Hannah Boyette for another three, and that's good. Hannah drains another one. We're getting close to 60, folks. 37-11, 3 minutes left in this ball game.
42 you predicted starting
now
to look pretty good.
We're seeing everybody on the bench come in for Vian. We're going to see a whole new five come in. There's a shot. No good. Going out of bounds. We're going to have a buzzer. There it is. Let me get out my crystal ball.
This is just something so these girls that are coming in this game can tell their grandchildren years from now.
Oh, my
We
gosh.
came in when it was 37-11.
Yes. They'll watch them put up like 20 points in the last 3 minutes.
I believe we've got wholesale substitutions from the
We
Mulro
do.
side.
Everybody's coming out. We've got Jenkins, Dawes, Reeves, McCloria, Hughes. That's it. That's 5 people. That's who's in the game for Muldrow now. Brianna Dawes over on the left side. And I know how Brianna Dawes plays ball. She's not going to waste any time. She's going to try to score some points. Paige Hughes on the right side. Skip pass all the way to McCloria. Brianna Dawes going to take that three-point shot. And she's off the mark. Paige Hughes with a picked off, well, not necessarily a pass, but she just steals the dribble. Jenkins for 3, way off the mark. She got a little overzealous with that. Brianna Dawes can't hang on to it. Now there's Erica Jenkins with a backcourt violation on the Lady Bulldogs. 37-11.
I think that last shot down here bounced off the wall.
Like we're shooting craps over here. 37-11. 2:16 left in the ball game. Vian with the ball, by the way. Paige Hughes picks off a pass. She's going to drive it all the way in and puts up a shot, gets fouled. Paige Hughes going to the line with 2:01 left in the ball game. 37-11 is still
everybody just getting to the scorebook.
Mm-hmm. You know, if Muldrow could have faced a team that likes to play ball, this would have been a different game. It would have been a whole different story. But when you face a team that comes in here and their main goal is to not get
skunked,
drummed, you know. You can't play keep away. Paige Hughes, first shot no good. Second shot is good.
I don't know. At this point, Vian may be proud of their 11 points that they got.
I mean, they better be proud of holding the Lady Bulldogs to 38. That's what you got to be proud of. Lacey Smithson in the ball game now for the Lady Bulldogs. And Megan Powell is going to check in. Vian with the ball over on the right side, and a shot for 3, no good. Rebound by Maddie Reeves. Maddie Reeves is 6'2". And they're all making their way back down to the Muldrow side of the floor. Jenkins with a pass down to Maddie Reeves, and she goes up for a shot. That's no good. If Maddie would use that backboard, she would make those shots. Pass over to Brianna Dawes, and ooh, she wanted to take that one. Oh, Alicia McClory loses the ball. Vian with a huge travel. Megan Powell coming into the game for the Muldrow Lady Bulldogs. We just had a bunch more people jump on to the live listener feed. And if you're just now jumping in, 38-11 is the score with 1 minute, 7 seconds left in this championship ball game. Maddie Reeves down low, and she puts one up and off the glass, and that's good for 2. And I just said if Maddie Reeves would use the backboard, she would make those shots, and bada bing, that's exactly what happened. Vian, ball over to the right side. And there's a three-point shot. Nothing but the bottom of the net. Unfortunately, it did not go through the rim first. So that's not how you score points, Vian.
Literally nothing but net.
Nothing but net. That's all she got on that. And a turnover. Now we're going to see Erica Jenkins. She's got the ball up the floor over to Brianna Dawes on the left side, down to Maddie Reeves at the high post. And a loose ball. Lacey Smithson is going to get in there and tie it up. And that is going to be Vian possession, I'm afraid. Yes.
Okay, here's the suspense.
Oh.
Can Muldrow get the ball back and get to 42, or can Vian break the 12?
I gave him the over-under, and I took the under on both. 19 seconds left. Vian's got the ball. I am good at betting. Yeah. Megan Powell has the ball. Erica Jenkins now 8 seconds left for the Lady Bulldogs.
Shoot it.
Let's see. No, she's going to hold it. No, Coach Armour said go. Lacey Smithson down low with a shot up. Lacey's good at the end of the ball game, and I broke even on the over-under for the Lady Bulldogs, and I nailed it with the Vian Lady Wolverines. And, folks, this one is over at the end of this ball game, the championship of the Shakota Crossroads Classic. Muldrow Lady Bulldogs win 42-11. Just a fast-paced, high-scoring blowout here. So we're going to take a break. We're going to hear from a couple of our sponsors. I do want to mention one sponsor we have that we just brought on tonight, Boyette Farms in Muldrow. We want to thank the Boyette family. They obviously are Hannah Boyette belongs to Boyette Farms, just a great family. They've been nothing but good to us ever since we started broadcasting from Muldrow, so we want to say thank you to every single one of them. And we're going to take a break real quick, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Muldrow Bulldogs basketball, presented by Divine Lines Body Art Studio and Academy in Fort Smith, and brought to you by todayinfortsmith.com.
And we're going to bring you back in live. Clint Davis and Dennis McCaslin. We're about to wrap it up and go home like a bean burrito. Dennis, what do you have for stats?
Well, in the words of NBA legend Charles Barkley, that was terrible.
Terrible.
It was terrible. But I will tell you this. Hannah Boyette finished with 15 points. All 15 came on three-point shots. Five three-pointers for Hannah Boyette. Chambers finished with 8 points for the Lady Bulldogs. 5 points for Johnson, 4 for Collins, 2 points each for Maddie Reeves, Mays, Smithson, and Shaylin Mays. All finished with 2, and a single free throw from Hughes. And the scoring is going to be easy to summarize for the Vian Lady Wolverines. They had 4 players score, and each one of those players scored 1 basket. 3 of those baskets were three-pointers, and those came from – and we don't mean to laugh, folks, but this is Harrison, Hernandez, and Jackson all had a three-pointer, and Teron Moses had the only 2-point bucket of the game.
You know, and when you say we don't mean to laugh, it's not that we're laughing at – I don't want people to think we're just laughing at a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
They chose this strategy coming into this
absolutely.
ballgame.
And you know, and to be honest with you, Clint, just if you're stop and think about it, if you're Vian and you come into this game, what other strategy could you employ?
I mean,
when
you
know
face
what you're
the
going to
Muldrow
get.
Lady Bulldogs, you know what you're coming up against. Vian saw Muldrow in the Sequoia County tournament 2 weeks ago. They watched Muldrow win it. They knew that their only hope was to come in and hold the ball and throw the ball around and not turn it over.
And hope to win by a field goal at
And
the
just,
end.
maybe put a few points on the board like they did, only 11. But they just didn't want to get throttled by Muldrow.
Right.
But they still kind of did anyway.
But a win is a win is a win. And this just propels the Lady Bulldogs into the rest of the regular season.
This is 2 tournament championships in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and now we're getting ready to go into the last leg of the season. We're going to be pushing for, I don't know how many games. We've got 4 or 5 games left, and then, we turn around and go into the district tournament and the regional and the area tournament, working all the way up to state. And the girls are already talking about that. They're already ready for the state tournament.
You and I talked about this during one of the breaks, or earlier we talked about it, or you actually told me about this on the way down here. But both Hera and Fort Gibson, who were ranked ahead of the Lady Bulldogs, lost last night in their tournaments that they were playing in.
They lost, yeah. They got beat.
So I personally see a good chance here, and that was Fort Gibson's second loss. I see a good chance here for the Lady Bulldogs to at least move into second, and probably, to be honest with you, they should move into first.
I don't see any reason why they would not move into first place at this point. I mean, they just have way too much momentum. They've beat plenty of good teams. The only game that they did not win was obviously a very close one that they played a 6A school in a gigantic tournament of champions. So,
and with the 3 officials there, it was an 8-on-5 contest.
It was 8-on-5. So I tell you what, that's probably going to do it for us. We've got nothing left to cover here, folks. I want to thank you all for listening to both broadcasts. The Muldrow Bulldogs, the boys team, they won 3rd place in the Shakota Crossroads Classic. The Lady Bulldogs have just won the championship. And now Wagner and Vian boys will face off for the championship on the boys' side, and we are not going to hang around long enough to watch that. I have got to go catch up on sleep and probably watch a little bit of Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. I hear there's a new episode. Wait, no, it's not the 90s anymore? Okay. So there's no Dr. Quinn new episodes tonight. And we just want to say thank you for everybody listening on todayinfortsmith.com and on Mixler.com. My name is Clint Davis for Dennis McCaslin. We will see you on Tuesday at Muldrow.
You're listening to Muldrow Bulldogs basketball, presented by Divine Lines Body Art Studio and Academy in Fort Smith, and brought to you by todayinfortsmith.com.